little adventure. Lori and I are on our way up to the cabin again, but it's going to rain, so we have a bunch of indoor chores to do. I'm going to put line on all of my reels for fishing, and there's a lot of them. And we are going to make turkey breakfast sausage with the turkey that you saw in the previous video. So we made a whole list of things to do, so we'll see how many of them we can cross off the list, and we'll bring you along. So we'll see you at the cabin. Well, good morning, everybody. Lori and I did our tradition. Got to the cabin, turned the heat on, went in and had a large pizza. Sat at the bar with all our cabin bar friends. Came back and went to bed. Slept like a rock. But it's a beautiful day in central Minnesota. Well, kind of not really. It's rainy. It's the 23rd of April, and there's still solid ice on the lakes. 3 weeks from now, we are supposed to be having opening fishing, and all my guide friends are saying there's no way there'll still be ice. Some of the lakes up north where I fish have 32 inches of ice on them still. This ice is barely pulled away from shore. Last year, we were putting the docks in at the cabin on Easter weekend. Easter weekend was what, a weekend ago? So, Lori at the cabin, we have a bunch of chores to do today. We'd love to go for a hike if we get a break in the rain, but it's windy and rainy. Yet the high today, believe it or not, is supposed to be 67 degrees with winds howling out of the south. That's why the warmth. Then next week goes back in the deep freeze again. So this winter's won't end. It's one of the longest ones I remember. April 23rd, the ice should have been out a while ago. So, but we're up here, we've got chores to do. We're going to make venison breakfast sausage, as I said yesterday. Not venison, a turkey breakfast sausage. And we're going to boil some turkey legs. Other things to do, push line on my fishing reels, but those are just chores, fun to do at the cabin while it pours and rains. And we'll call it warm and miserable. But even with that being said, it's a beautiful day in central Minnesota. I'll take you along. All right, we have our first thunderstorm of the year. Ice on the lake. I would not hesitate to walk out there if I could get out deep enough. I bet you there's, ooh, a nice wood duck just went by. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Went right over our heads. Hear that thunderstorm. Sorry for the racket. Put the microphone around so you can hear it. Birds are singing. Ducks are flying. Swans are out. Geese are out. And a thunderstorm. That's cool. The first thunder of the year. April showers. Bring those May flowers. Lori and I are in there discussing our garden for this year. That is cool. That's some thunder. So we were up here 2 weeks ago, and the ice had yet to pull away from the shore, and it still hasn't pulled away from the shore. 2 weeks ago, you'd think it would have pulled itself back, but it hasn't. Still good solid ice. You can still see my track right there from where the fish house was. Alright, so when Lori and I were deciding what to do this weekend, we knew it was going to rain, so what do? Do we do it at home? Do we come up to the cabin? And we decided to come to the cabin. We have a lot of stuff going, and I'm going to make, with the Easter ham bone from last weekend. Man, it is pouring rain and thundering outside. Holy moly. Good day to do stuff inside. I am going to make navy bean ham bone soup. Next, I'm going to make the turkey legs from the turkey I shot in the previous video you saw, and then we're going to make turkey breakfast sausage, as I said yesterday. So I'm going to step through all three of those. My first process is for the navy bean soup, ham bone soup from the ham bone from Easter. I'm going to put the beans in boiling water, and I'm going to let them sit for 1 hour. And I'll step you through as I go through that. But the first thing we're going to do this morning is make the ham bone soup. So we're using white beans, northern beans. White beans is what we're going to use for this ham bone. So we're set to go. I'm going to dump them in and let them sit for 1 hour. And I am going to turn it off. So they're just going to sit here and soak for an hour. All right, so while the beans are settling in, I'm going to put the ham bone in. I'm going to put the ham bone in and just going to start that bone. It's going to boil all day. It'll probably boil for hours and hours and hours. So next, I'm going to put the ham bone in and let that boil. All right, got that going. All right, so the ham bone is at a boil, and I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. All right, so now in the navy bean ham soup, I'm going to add celery, carrots, and onion. All right, I'm going to add these to the ham bone soup, navy bean soup. All right, the beans have been soaking for about an hour, and what that does is gets all the starches out. So some people have a hard time digesting these beans, so you soak them for an hour, and after you boil them, and it takes the starches out. So that's the reason I do that. It helps them cook faster too. I'm just going to drain them. Oop. And then I'm going to add them into the soup. All right, back into the soup they go. All right, it's time to add the seasonings. I'm going to go very liberal with the seasonings. All I'm going to add is a little black pepper, a teaspoon of each probably. I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. And I forgot fresh garlic. So I am going to add just granulated garlic. That's it. Give her a good stir. All right, that alarm told me it's time to add the seasonings, so I was right on time there. I'm just stirring them in a little bit. Okay, we're gonna bring it back to a simmer. It's simmering right now. I'm not quite sure how well this is going to show up on the camera, but it rained this morning. Then it got warm. It's supposed to get this in the 60s today, but there's steam coming off of the lake. Typically, that would mean that the air is warmer than the lake, or the snow on, or the ice on it, or the water, even the rain that's on it. So hopefully you can see that as it's moving across there. There's some to the left here. I'll try and show you that too. All right, so the ham bone's been simmering for about 2.5 hours, making a great broth. It just smells so good. So now I'm going to take it out and I'm going to remove it, put it in the pan, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to cut all the meat off of it and kind of remove it from the bone. So that's what I'm going to do now. If I can get it out of here. All right.
Alright, so now I just got to take all the meat off over there. We'll let this continue to simmer a little bit. I'm actually going to turn it down just a little bit. Alright, wasn't that big of a bone, so I didn't get that much meat off of it, but I do have some left over from last week to supplement into the soup, so I'll use some of that too. That's already cut up and ready to go, so I'll just add it, but that's what's left. Looks like that. Connective tissue, nothing left. Little scraps we'll probably give to Piper. She'll like that, so that'll go with her dog food at night. So that's what I'm going to add into the soup, and we'll supplement a little bit more out of the refrigerator. So that's that. Alright, now we're going to let this cook just a little bit more. Carrot, broccoli, actually I want to thicken it up a little bit, so I'm going to let it steam off a little bit more. Alright, for those of you who haven't heard of a sous vide, I'm sure most of you have, this is a sous vide. You put your pork chops, or this happens to be some pork loins that we got, in a Ziploc bag, and this heats the water to the exact temp, and we're doing these at 146 for about 2 hours. So it'd be a little medium rare, probably medium, not medium rare. And salt and pepper, a little butter in there, clip them in so they stay submerged, and we're leaving there for 2 hours. Sous vide. Comes out, you put it on the grill, they're perfect every time. The exact temperature you want, and we have tried this with our halibut that I caught last year in Alaska, and I've never had better halibut. It's perfect every single time. So the sous vide, just this little device right here, circulates the water around. About halfway through, I'll flip the meat around, but it usually is all one consistent temp. It's not up to temp yet. It needs to get to 146. Then it'll start. It's at 117.7 right now, but that's it. All right, coming out the drawing, Lori. The thermometer says it's 75 degrees. By far the warmest day of the year so far. So we're gonna sit out here and relax a little bit. Got the sous vide going. That'll be done in about half an hour. So for half an hour, we're gonna relax. Big baked potatoes in the oven. I'm gonna grill some asparagus. So see how it goes. Job well done. There's a lot today, man. Holy shit. Hey, Pipes. Hey, Pipes. Got the dog there. Ice there. We didn't think she'd last very long. So after you get done sous vide them, you wipe them off because there'll be a little bit of water on them. And then I'll re-season mine. A little salt and pepper, maybe a little garlic powder. Then you put them on the grill because they just come out white because there's nothing to char them. And now I'm just going to char them on the grill. So I haven't flipped them yet, but I will. Show you what that looks like. So when they come out of the sous vide, they're basically cooked. All I'm trying to do here is put grill marks on them. So they're done, ready to go. We're going to go in and eat them. Should be perfect. Alright, sous vide pork, baked potato, a little asparagus for dinner. Sous vide pork, perfect every time. Right there, medium, the way we like it. Well, everybody, it's been a long Saturday, man. We got a lot accomplished up here, and across the lake there is a thunderstorm. Hopefully you can see it. I think you will be able to. Here's some new, look at that. A little lightning storm coming up, thunder and lightning. Am I going to get some more rain tonight? Well, I can start to hear the thunder now. Geese. But it's about 8:30, 8:45. Lori and I go to bed pretty early because we get up early, so. Oh, more lightning and thunder. Gonna get some bangers tonight.
Did see some lightning too right before I turned the camera on. Alright, gonna get a storm. Nice to sleep with a little thunder. We'll see you folks in the morning. Well, good morning everybody. Wind's howling through the trees, really blowing. Geese are flying. Raindrop. Well, we missed the thunderstorm last night. Went to the north of us. That's good. Lost a little bit of ice yesterday in the 60-degree temps. Yesterday was 67, I think. Today, or tomorrow, is going to be, the high will be 39. Welcome to north central Minnesota. Man, it's howling wind out here, but there's 2 eagles on the lake today. There's usually a fish house right there, so they might be picking at old minnows or probably eating minnows. I don't know, they've been out there for about half an hour. A couple bald eagles. Alright, at our cabin, we know how to make breakfast. You start out with a chocolate chip waffle, add a little vanilla bean ice cream, and then you add a little bit of homemade maple syrup.
All right, another epic weekend at the cabin. Nah, I'm just being sarcastic. Since everybody says epic these days, I thought I'd be sarcastic. Laura and I were talking about it. We had a wonderful weekend at the cabin. Got a lot accomplished. Man, we worked all day yesterday. We were exhausted by the end of the day, which is cool. So now we're on our way home. A little rainy out there today, but yesterday was beautiful. So on our way home. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Home sweet home. Wood pile still there.